Hi, attendees. Thank you for joining me this afternoon at 3:30 on our Technical Qualifications Synoptic Assignment Back to Basics Hints and Tips webinar. We are going to just wait a minute. The numbers are going up. So I've got quite a few of you on there, but they're not, like I say, the numbers are going up. So if we just sort of breathe for a minute, get our thoughts together, and then we will start shortly. Thank you very much. Right, the numbers are going up quickly, so I shall start the webinar because you've all got yourself here on time, and I'd like to say hello to you all and welcome to today's webinar. And today's webinar is aimed at welcoming you back to this new academic year in terms of just technical qualifications. We're going to try and give you some updates along the way, and we're going to be sharing some good practice, thoughts and ideas. As well as allowing you time in between slides to ask any questions you may want to ask. So now let's look at the housekeeping. We will be looking at the agenda in a moment, but I'm Sarah Fioda and I am your technical advisor for Hair and Beauty, and I am joined here today with my colleague Alison Whittle. So this is just a technology check, ladies and gentlemen, and really it's to let you know that if you can hear me, you raise your hand, please. Somebody just raise your hand. Alison will pick that up. You'll find that in the right-hand corner of your screen in the little function go to webinar box. It's a little toolbar there, so if you can let Alison know that you can all hear me. Please use this little box if you've got any questions that you want to enter along the way. And Alison will monitor these questions throughout the whole of the presentation. Now, this webinar is being recorded and you will all receive a copy. And if you're registered, which you are because you're here, and you'll also receive a CPD certificate. And once I will also send you a thank you email as soon as this webinar is downloaded, with a previous webinar that was ran today, which is really good, and I think it'd be great for you to listen to that one. And also, if you feel free to share this webinar out to any of your members of staff or colleagues who were not able to join today. On this webinar, we will be asking you for feedback. Feedback for us is really important because then we can shape the webinars to suit you, centres and providers, to what your needs are. So as you can see on this slide, I do have a forms.office.com link that you can actually just cut and paste and answer the feedback form there. There's only 9 questions on that. Or if you're savvy and you're quite, technical, you've got, you're tech okay, then please do scan the QR code. So, okay, let's look at our agenda for today. So I'll be giving you a little bit of a brief update on what's come through from Javier regarding CPD. Will be an update again on learner journals. I know there has been a webinar done on this and some information gone out, but I just want to make sure you have all that information. Again, we'll be looking at the technical qualifications that are open for registration to date. Our valuable resources that we have, and we have lots of them to share with you on our technical.com page at City and Girls, and important dates for 21 and 22. And then we're going to look at preparation for delivering technical qualifications, and I'm going to give you a brief overview of the synoptic assignments that you will be, obviously you've looked at by now, and you will be sharing in the new year with your learners. And I'll be giving you some moderation, principal moderator hints and tips there. We'll be looking at completing some documentation, good practice shared, and useful context for you, and any question and Q&As that you may have at the end of this session. So without further ado, we'll look at the CPD. Now this is just, we received this just at the end of last week from Javier. They're confirming that basically the CPD for September 2021 to the 31st of August 2020 in relation to the ongoing COVID disruptions is basically going to stay the same. So it says, with the aim to maintain professional development for yourselves and your staff, it's recommended that due to the availability of all the excellent resources online, that assessors and verifiers, moderators are able to contribute these to activities towards their overall CPD requirements. And City and Guilds are mirroring this with their flexibilities, and we do support industry regulators with this published document for this academic year. You've probably seen this, but it's just a quick overview. We've moved from paper to digital in August this year. So obviously all your learner journals now can be downloaded on the website. You will see in our new rules of combination, which is on our website under key documents, I've actually put all the links there to all the learner journals. So again, it's free of charge. We have printable logbooks and units. They're found on the website. We have writable PDFs, which are in SmartScreen on the SmartScreen platform, and we have textbooks, and they've been transferred into ebooks, and they can also be found on our SmartScreen platform. So the qualifications we have open to date for registration are our Key Stage 4 Level 2 in Hair and Beauty, which is a technical award in Hair and Beauty Studies. That's for your schools. And in Hair and Barbering, we still have our 6 qualifications, which is our Barbering, Hairdressing at Level 2, Cutting and Styling and Hair Colouring at Level 2, our Diploma in Barbering and Hairdressing at Level 3. Now you can see where on this slide I have put optional units where they are required. So as much as you have that, you have your regular, your sort of mandatory qualifications, you also have optional units on some of those qualifications. If we look at our Key Stage 5 for beauty therapy, nails, spa and theatrical and media makeup, we have our 5 beauty and nail qualifications. I'm sorry, 4. We have our beauty therapy, which has optional units at Level 2. We have our nail treatments, which has the lookbook in there. We have our Level 3 advanced diploma in beauty and spa with optional units. And we also have our Level 3 nail technology, which is an industry portfolio with a lookbook, if you like. If we look at our media makeup, so our 60-10 qualifications, we have our Level 2 certificate, which requires a mood board. We have our Level 3 advanced makeup, media makeup artistry qualification, which has optional units and a lookbook. And we also have our advanced theatrical diploma in special effects and media makeup artistry, which has optional units and a lookbook. So as I said earlier, valuable resources that we have for you, and this is just a reminder. These resources are generic and they are available to you on our technical page on our website. So I have put a link there for you to follow to access the technical checklist and everything else that gives you important dates for your diary. There is on there a welcome pack, and that explains all the available support and guidance. And it's quite swift and simple to read. So I would suggest that everybody does go through that, probably an email that out to all my staff, but just so they can all have a swift read of that one. The synoptics are all on the website. We did ask you for feedback earlier on in the year for the synoptics. Unfortunately, that window's closed. And I would suggest every year, when those synoptics get put up onto our website, please do go and review them. And if you have any, feedback or any Q&As that you want answering, fill the form in and send it to us, and I'm sure we'll be able to get back to you with any feedback. And that will really, really help you to, in your development moving forward. The synoptics, we don't change them, but we may update them. So it's really important that you have a good read of the brief and the tasks inside there. And this will also help you to prepare for your standardization meetings that you'll have with your teams. Please make sure you download your exam timetable and you are aware of the spring and summer series sittings for each technical qualification that you're delivering. And they are really important resources. So the welcome pack, the teaching and learning and assessment pack is very good. The key dates for your diary. I think the biggest thing for me is your technical checklist for every year we do that. It just tells you what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing. Well, not what you shouldn't be doing, but when you've got a month off. And we've also got lots of updates in there. And any previous webinars are actually on our website. And I'm going to point you to these now, because we have some absolutely fantastic principal moderators standardization webinars that have already been recorded that are on there. And as you can see on my screen where I put a little arrow against it, you've got really a 4-part series there, but when you drill down into this sort of section, it does give you, you know, Sarah Farrell, Catherine Bobby, Alison Atkinson, they're actually going through, you know, really important parts of that moderation process that I do feel would be beneficial to you all. Here I will, you know, what I've put is just a slide about preparations for delivery. And again, you know, we've put together a few examples of good practice spotted by moderators, you know, during their journey in centres. And we thought we'd like to share them with you just to give you some hints and tips. And we do feel it's an excellent idea that centre teams carry out these sort of hints and tips, really, because it's just going to help you moving forward. So the thing is, having a discussion about the synoptic marking really is paramount, really. It makes sure that you're all on the same page, and it helps you to complete, you know, the forms, the practical observation forms, and the candidate record forms, and any queries you may have over sort of this standardization, then you can email to myself, to the technical team, and we can make sure that your queries you know, are answered. And I think it really will set you in a good stead for the rest of the academic year. Also, looking at your delivery plan and considering all the dates you need to adhere to, because they're really important. That's why that technical checklist is really, really important. Each year you will receive moderator feedback. It will be an excellent idea for you to look at the last few years, and they are on our website. If you've been delivering a long time, like a lot of people have, and if you're new, look at all those moderator reports that are there, because it really gives you a very good overview of you know, what's good practice, what's been deemed as, you know, could improve. And I just feel as a standardization task, it would really help you and the teams to be able to move forward. I think another one really is deciding who will take the IQA role. We know there is no IQA, as in you're not going to be doing IQA sort of sessions within the day, but you are going to be doing moderation, and you will, after IQA, optional units as normal. So for me, the IQA is a huge part of the process, is making sure that the standardization's there, so when the moderators come in, they actually know that you've had those standardization meetings and that you're all on the same template. And so it is imperative you don't forget your quality assurance, because quality assurance does occur. So sometimes we see templates that can help or hinder learners again. So you've got to be very, very sensible there. And if you're making a template up for the learner, look at the qualification brief is asking, the synoptic brief is asking for, and then follow that brief. Planning the synoptic is really paramount. You know, planning a mock synoptic is paramount. You know, working backwards is paramount into making sure that they're all going to move forward, and it's being able to give that feedback to that learner. I think what's important as well is making sure that, you know, the evidence that you have got for that learner, which will be your candidate record form, your practical observation form, any consultations, any photographs, that, you know, you make sure that all that evidence is uploaded to the moderation portal, and that it's all been standardized prior to that. Now, again, this will allow you to manage the process more efficiently. And I really do think, you know, at the end of the day, it's an excellent idea to make sure that all the team are on the same page when working towards this standardisation process. I'm just wondering now, Alison, do we have any questions?
Can't see any yet.
Okay, right then. Okay, let's move on. So where are we now? I'm just going to bring into these are briefs. So we're going to look at the actual synoptics for this year. The passwords do remain the same and they can be found on the walled garden. I cannot give you those passwords. That is for your quality assurance team to get them down for you from the walled garden, but they are the same. So as you can see, this is clearly just an overview of the assignments, and further detailed guidance is within each pack. And I really do encourage you to make sure you drill down and read the pack fully, because each task is explained in more detail. So let's have a look at 6003, Level 2 Beauty Therapy and Level 3 Beauty and Spa Therapy. So again, you can see there on the brief, you know, for the Level 2, you know, it's a basic, they're applying for a job in a salon, they've been shortlisted. I'm not going to go through everything. So they've been shortlisted, they've got to prepare themselves, they've got to be shop ready, they've got to be floor ready to be able to get this job. And they have got 2 clients to look at, and one of them they're going to do a gel polish on that client, and they're also going to do a day makeup, half a leg wax, half a leg wax and a bikini or underarm. And then on the second client, they're going to be looking at, you know, a full facial with skin analysis, lash treatments and brow, and then a pedicure with a dark polish. So again, they're going to have to fill an evaluation form in. Now, speaking to the principal moderator on this, she's really pleased that, you know, our beauty therapy is doing really, really well, and the centres are actually, you know, really getting down there. They're standardising, and they're actually, you know, making sure that the learners have got those 2 clients and they're doing what they should be doing. But what has come across is that we need to make sure that a client for waxing is hairy. We just don't want a couple of hairs in a knit. We need quite a few hairs on there to make sure that that moderator can see that waxing skill. Again, what has come up here is that the use 1 PO, which is your practical observation, for task 1 and 1 for task 2. That's really important to separate them, and then collate these together for your candidate record form. So if you do 1 for the first treatment, 1 for the second, sorry, 1 client, and then 1 for the second client, and then, you know, collate those together for the candidate record form. Allocate learners 2 beds if you can. I think this is so important. So they do the, you know, they'll have 2 beds so they can use 1 for the manicure, and then they move the client onto the next bed for the makeup and waxing, instead of having to clean the bed down, because at the end of the day they're losing time, and it is about shop floor and time ready. Look at photos that are required, make sure that the photos are close up, show the results that the learners have produced, make sure they've got the name and registration number there, so that the moderator knows who that learner is. I mean, many centres do get the technicians or receptionists to take photographs. They set up some little area, a small area where they go around, maybe a couch, and take those photographs, and keep a log of what photos they've taken, to make sure you've missed nothing, because it's really important about that. And it would be my suggestion, if I was in college, that, you know, all those photographs will be uploaded to maybe a PowerPoint, 1 photo per slide, and annotate those slides, saying the name of the learner, their number, their registration number, and basically what the moderator's looking at. And I think that would be a really, really good tip. So let's move on to our level 3. Again, it's a 1 client for this one, and it's a full pamper day. We all want to have a pamper day in a spa, and this is truly a full pamper day, because they're going to be doing the massage, the facial and body electrics, they're going to be doing dry spa treatments, and so they're going to be able to, they've got to be able to perform that consultation, knowing that, you know, what the client's requirements are. They're going to have to perform these services, and then they're going to have to evaluate these services. And a great thing came through from the moderator, the principal moderator, which I was really, you know, it's so important, because I've had so many people say, oh, my learner, you know, didn't get what she should have because she wasn't prepared, but she was prepared. So bear with me. Set up the machines ready, you know, for that session to start. Make sure all the attachments are there to use. That is really, really important. It would save themselves so much time if they have all the pads there, they're all cleaned and ready to go. So if you've got another bed there where they can have everything laid out, that would be really super, instead of them having to go into a storeroom to try and get that machinery out. Again, products could also be set up in the salon, so that they can go and pick the correct cleansers that they need, etc., for the client's skin type. And products that would actually are most beneficial and relevant to the machines. I think, again, try to ask explaining questions to check the full understanding of the machines, and why they've chosen the machines, and, you know, are they appropriate for that client's skin type and body type. And try to make sure that they use the body machines to the full potential. So, for example, for EMS, they use all the pads, you know, not just a couple. And this may help you by allocating learners, like I said, a couple of workstations, one set up for the spa and then one set up for another bed for the next treatments that are going to proceed. But for both, if possible, have 2 assessors primarily observing 3 learners. And I think this is really important to be able to check to make sure that the standardisation is in there when completing that practical observation form and the candidate record form. After the synoptic, many centres collect the consultation sheets in, and then the learners come back the next day and go into a computer room, and they're given the consultation sheets back, so they can reflect and evaluate and write up the treatment plans in more detail. This is really, really good practice. When they've done a full day, you know, you don't want to sit them there for another hour having to reflect on what they've done. So I think that's really important, to be able to make sure that, you know, assessors make sure that they state what the learner has done, as well as what they didn't do, so it's fair, and this helps the moderator and actually the assessor to allocate the marks on the candidate record form, and how they can clearly justify these marks. We go on to our nail treatments. Again, we've got our level 2, the nail brief is there, and we need 2 clients. We want one for a manicure and gel polish and nail art, and the next client will be a full set of clear nail enhancements with liquid and powder, and that's got to be a French finish. And the French finish is really important. So the big thing for me is, whenever I see a French, is that smile line. So get them practicing those smile lines. Now, this is for both level 2 and level 3 feedback from the principal moderators. You know, the lookbook, the industry portfolio should be individually designed and put together by each learner, presented neatly with the intent of using them to present them to clients in the industry. So when they go out there, this is what I've done, this is what I can do. Use quality images, accurate neat labeling, and it shouldn't be just like one of those things you think, oh, after that, an afterthought, well, I should have done that. Make sure that that lookbook, you know, that portfolio is out there to sell them, because as we know, a lot of our nail technicians are out there on Instagram, on Facebook, and they are using those photos. Descriptions on the practical observation form should include details of the performance for each learner, rather than a general step-by-step of what has been seen. So the example I was given there was, which grit file did the learner select to blend the tip? Did the learner avoid damaging the natural nail during blending? Did the learner select the right tip type, style for the client's nails? And what was the overall look like? So that's quite an important one for me. So it's asking them, what's a grit file that you've used? Was that the right file to blend that tip? And as we know, sometimes they do go for the bigger grit to be able to work quicker. Now, the thing that the moderator said to me here was in AO1, it just doesn't refer to that sort of setup of the nail station, the health and safety. This area should be continually monitored throughout the practical performance. So that nail station should remain tidy throughout the whole of the service. And, you know, is that learner working cleanly throughout the whole of that service? You know, the removal of the liquid soap tissue, where was that? The dust, you know, are they turning their roll over, their tissue over? You know, are they disposing of that correctly? What are the ratios? You know, are they causing any damage to the tip? So I think they're really important. Also, something that came back with the descriptions on the PO and the CRF form is that sometimes it's the same and it corresponds to the same learner, so it looks like it's been a bit of a cut and paste exercise. So the principal moderator is saying, you know, nails and the artistry there is very unique to the learner, so just be mindful there. Again, learners should write their evaluations to discuss where the performance could improve, what went well, and you know what could they do better, because that's really, really important. And that'll help them when they evaluate and be honest and say, do you know what, I could have done better on that third nail or that hand, or I could have done better with that smile line, because it shows that, you know, they're actually reflecting on where they can improve. Again, product selection's been brought up, you know, to create the correct balance if they're going to go for pink and white. Looking at camouflage methods and exposing free edges, which they've seen, the moderators have seen that quite a bit. And, you know, the actual free edge needs to be clear from any debris or product on the skin. So that needs to be refined, and that goes with the nail art too. And that's basically it from our principal moderators in nails. Just a few hints and tips just to help you along this journey. So now we're going to be moving on to our level 2 makeup artistry, and I've got quite a lot here, and this is a very, very, very popular qualification at level 2, and it's a lovely qualification actually. So as you can see, that is the assignment brief. So they're going to, you know, they've been hired by the Victoria and Albert Museum to create a new exhibition. You know, they're looking at that, you know, 1990s grunge, and they have got X, Y, and Z to do. And obviously they're going to be looking at, you know, Pablo Picasso inspired face and upper body art. So principal moderators have come back here and you know, they've given me some hints and tips for you to say that number 1, research, which is task 1. Please, can that be word process document? This allows the learners to show details and the account of their findings. It best avoids writing too much as well. You know, keep it, you know, concise and simple, but it must be written in the learner's own words and not copied and pasted. Again, the consultation forms and treatment plans. Now, what we've found here, learners should complete their own consultation form or treatment plan and should not use the centre's consultation forms. So it's all about their unique individuality, as this is a very creative qualification. And if you think about that consultation, if we look at that, it does run into AO1 and AO2. So do make sure that they are using that creativity within there. The following information that they should be looking at is model requirements such as skin type, how they're going to adapt the products and the techniques to suit the client, any contraindications, health and safety, products and techniques, and any aftercare and promotional activities and services that are required. There's also a realistic budget there in case they, you know, for costings of anything. Health and safety. Mood boards are really, really important because they are creative. It's a creative subject, as I said, therefore learners should be encouraged to showcase their artistic flair in planning processes, as well as their practical elements, because what can be in the head may not sometimes be on the body or in the hair. So if the mood boards are there, they're designed, these plans they've designed, and it shows their creativity. Photographic evidence is really important here, and make sure you take the shots, but please look at the tasks below the brief, because we tell you exactly what photographs should be taken for each synoptic. Again, the body art, ensure that, you know, the 2 full areas are covered. Check that it's a full face and neck, front, chest, torso, back, arms, back and both arms. And stenciling, give me some ideas on stenciling. Look at these areas, you know, ensure that a minimum of 3 body painting techniques are used, like stenciling, blending, colour blocking, washing, freehand. So just make sure that they're using all those techniques, and the props and costumes should complement what they're trying to bring together. And again, that evaluation, you know, evaluate the strengths and weaknesses, justification, what could you do better, or was it just good enough, you know? So just always that evaluation is really, really important. If we now go on to our level 3 media makeup and theatrical and media makeup artistry, so these are the recommendations from the moderator there. And again, the moderators, because it's creative, are saying, look at the individual's creativity and the reasons for the choices. Why have they chosen to do what they're doing? So candidates should be taking responsibility for their own work. It's an individual task. Each one of them must have the name and the registration number on each piece of work, because it can become complicated if it's just all sent up to the moderation portal. So again, I'd go back to that PowerPoint presentation, making sure you just got 1 photograph per page, save it as a PDF, and then that will help the moderators to actually, you know, look at that work. Again, the lookbook should be creative. It's got that creative side, because that is what they're doing. They're researching. This should be checked by the tutor prior to before completion of the synoptic, and check that the candidates are on track with what they are doing and they're not got off on a tangent. I think that's really, really important. And what is important is for the tutor, you know, only advise the candidate. Don't tell them what to do. Give them hints and tips, and try and draw as much information out of them as you possibly can. Again, there are a variety of skills, you know, they need to use to show their looks. And if we come back to different models and how they can create different things and show, you know, showcase those skills is really important. Both photographic evidence, again, is expected in all this industry. Again, they normally do have this lookbook where they can show what they've done to be able to get themselves a really good position out there in our industry. And again, evaluation is really, really important. What the moderators don't want to see is a step-by-step guide to what they've done. They're just evaluating. It's like a critical analysis of what went well and what could be done better. And did it meet their plan? What happened if it didn't meet their plan? What would you do next time? So again, I just think that's really, really an important tip from our moderators. Sorry. Do you have any questions there, Alison?
Just having a look now. I've been monitoring time, but no, surprisingly quiet.
I hope I'm not boring everybody. I hope you're all away.
Everybody said they could hear you, Sarah, so I'm assuming that they can.
They're not letting me come up for air, are they? There's no questions. Okay, let's move on to our hairdressing. Oh, we're doing barbering first. So the barbering synoptic. Again, brief overview here of both the level 2 and level 3. I'm not going to read through those. They are there for you. I'm just going to go through the hints and tips for the qualifications. So if we look at level 2, I think what the moderator's saying here is spend time to cover task 1. When you drill down in it, so, you know, make sure you add the images, research styles, annotate any images that have been copied to show knowledge and understanding, but personalize that plan for the models that they're going to use. Really important to consider all factors that might influence the cutting and finishing techniques. I mean, somebody said to me the other day, this young lady had done this absolutely amazing hair up, but the blow dry that she did, I know it's not her, this is barbering, but the blow dry she did was just because the model's hair wasn't that good, but the hair up on a block was amazing. So it really is about, you know, making sure you've got the models, you know, when you're considering those, the cutting and the finishing techniques. And again, I've just seen a little post-it note I've got here. One of the main issues is ensuring models are suitable to give the best possible chance to showcase skills. So that is like, you know, have a full head of hair, use models with different hair classifications to demonstrate the skills. That is really important for level 2, those hair classifications, and we know there are 4 of those. So with task 2 on the level 2 barbering, is making sure consultation notes include the model's requirements and the objective. What does that model want? You know, are all the influencing factors taken into consideration? Again, for the task 3, you know, candidates need to evaluate that work. So encourage practice of looking at how factors in the plan and on that consultation notes went. You know, did they use or refer to the tools, products and techniques? You know, that's really important. And one thing the moderator did say was that shampooing services and dry and finishing techniques, they didn't refer to them an awful lot. But what they need to be looking at is, so they need to refer to the shampoo service, the drying and finishing techniques, and bring this all together. So that's really important to think about that. And again, for the PO forms, you need to, you know, centre staff need to refer to the shampoo services as well as the drying and finishing services for the haircuts and the facial haircuts as well. So if we look at our brief for our level 3 barbering, again, they need to complete a restyle of both facial hair and haircuts on different hair classifications as we come into this. These should be creative, demonstrating advanced skills for cutting and finishing. So we are at a different level now. So these are advanced skills. Shaving services sometimes lack documentation evidence by the centre and candidates, i.e. skin condition, referring to any A&P. So it's really important to look at that skin condition. Is there any anatomy and physiology issues there that may hinder them having that facial, that barbering technique? Products used, why did they use those products? Why did they use those techniques? You know, their professionalism and ability as well is very, very important. And the one thing that the principal moderator came back with here is the polish and finish. You know, it's that polish and finish of the drying techniques and using finishing products to show off that, you know, that beautiful creation they've just done. So it's making sure that they have that, you know, oomph there to say, right, this is, I'm going to polish this one off and make sure that, you know, their cut and style is finished with products that would enhance it. And I know a lot of learners are sometimes frightened of using products just in case they ruin it, but they're not. So it's about that practice. And again, the task 3, the evaluations, is very, very important in these two assignment briefs. Moving on to the hairdressing, again, here we've got our level 2 and level 3. I'm not going to read through the briefs, but you can see they are there, and you will be getting a copy of this, and you will already have these briefs anyway. So some learners are defaulting to using highlighting products for a minimum of 50% of the head placed in packets for highlighting. So this is for level 2 at the moment where I'm going, but it has been noted in level 3. So I think they really need to look at the lightening products they're using. It doesn't always have to be bleach, and you know, it doesn't always have to be 50% of it. It is a minimum of 50%, but they need to make sure that they've got that 50% in place. Again, we know that trends change constantly, and that impact on the products that the students are going to use. But you know, we don't want them to disadvantage themselves. In the majority of cases, this can happen in AO1 and AO2, as they are not fully demonstrating the in-depth knowledge and understanding within the colouring unit. And so that'll go for the level 2 certificate in colouring techniques as well. So they're not actually demonstrating that full understanding and knowledge within the colouring unit. So when the moderator asks a question, they're frequently hearing, I'm using lightening products to get a lift. So I think we need to, that shows that there's not an awful lot of knowledge there. We know that they're going to get a lift with a lightening product. So there's no mention of levels of that lift required, and perhaps why that product's been chosen rather than a high lift tint, and the reasons for choice of the developer that might impact on that service and result. Again, mixing ratios are really important, and following manufacturer's instructions as well. Is they're saying, well, I'm following the manufacturer's instructions to fulfil the potential of this product is reached, and also the application methods not always discussed, as and the size of the meshes that may be used or the packets that are being used. Moving on with this colouring unit, again, they say I will apply a toner. And no mention of the product or the mixing ratio there, or why they're using that, and again the development times. So it's all about asking. I think it's being that inner child, why are you doing that? Why are you using that? Tell me how you did that. So it's about questioning them along the journey when you see them working, asking them why. Another one with hairdressing was terminology, the technical terminology not being accurate. And it's like when they're discussing a one-length cuts and layering them, rather than saying they're obtaining their guidelines for a one length and then layering techniques. It's just basically I'm doing a bob, but they should be using terms like blunt cutting instead of club cutting. So have a look at the handbook and look at the terminology there, and use the terminology that's in the candidate handbook there, because that's really important. Again, one length cuts must be above the shoulder. The moderator has been saying that they're seeing a lot of these cuts below the shoulder, and that doesn't meet the requirement for that synoptic, and it won't meet the requirement for synoptic this year. So that's really, really important. Again, making sure that they're evaluating their tasks and the practicals that they've done on their clients. That is really, really important, is looking at that evaluation. What was good, what could they do better, where did they have a hiccup, what let them down, and what they're going to do in the future to be able to overcome that. So level 2 here, you've got your cutting and styling services and your hair cutting services. They're the briefs. I'm not going to repeat what I've just said, because they are exactly the same for the full level 2 qualification and the full level 3 hairdressing qualification. We are now going to be going on to documentation, and this documentation is really important for you guys, is your practical observation form. And this is a written account of what is happening on the day of that synoptic. So the required documentation remains the same every year. We don't amend this requirement. Please only provide photographic evidence we request, which will be in the brief, in the tasks in the synoptic. Students won't get any extra marks for adding more pictures or more photographs. With each synoptic, a copy of all 3 documents are required per student. So that is going to be your practical observation form, your candidate record form, and your declaration of authenticity. Really important. As again, practical observation forms must be completed while the synoptic is being observed. And this is a sole account of what you're seeing at that time. And the candidate record form is where you justify the marks you're awarding from what you've seen and your notes on that practical observation form. So here's final thoughts. Consider assessment days really important for the students to practice the skills prior to that synoptic. Practice techniques and skills constantly, whether it be at home or it be at college. Run through that like synoptic in college. For myself, I'd be doing 3 mocks. My first mock would be after half term October. My second would be Christmas, doing a pamper day, incorporating hair and makeup in that. So it would be like all the departments would be working together there. And the next one would be January, prior to the scene, where I'm going to rag rate my learners to see who goes into that synoptic first and who goes in towards the end of the year. And I think that's really important to think about. Again, practicing at home, is it acceptable students should, if they should wish to? It is, but don't, it's not. We don't want them to get into any bad habits, and the bad habits is leaving your tools, your nippers, or your makeup brushes just on the side without having any paper tissue underneath them. So again, they're the things I'll be checking constantly. Photos need to be clear, and labelling that the evidence is really important for the moderators when you're submitting that to the moderation portal. I've got a few little things here for myself that I just want to say is familiarise yourself and the learners with last year's synoptic. It's not password protected, it is there. Look at the structure, the layout, the timings and the marking, and run through those mocks, that mock with the learner. Mark and standardise as assessors and quality assure. This is an exercise. I just feel that for myself, I know that everybody then is on the same page. Feedback that performance to the learner. You know, if they're in a band 1, you've got a band 1, 2 and 3. Band 1 isn't a pass, band 2 isn't a merit, and band 3 isn't a distinction. They are just bands. And if I had a learner that had too many marks in band 1, I've got to see how I can help that learner to start moving up into the next band. So, and I really think it's important to give this performance feedback to that learner to help them. Again, I'm not going to go on about taking photographs, but they are important, and we advise that you make sure you look within the synoptic assessment pack at what photographs we are asking for you to upload for us, and making sure that they are clear and concise. Do we have any questions?
I've just been monitoring things, but there's nothing so far, Sarah. But I have put a link in the chat. Can you just come off? Could you just?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Don't worry. I've just put a link in the chat just to make. I'm sure everybody's seen it, but just in case. It's an updated document that was updated on the 14th of October, which covers any adaptations for technicals for this coming academic year, from obviously from September through to the following September. So I've just put a link, but if you want any information about what may be happening this year and what we've provided for you, the guidance, please go onto the COVID page. Thanks, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Alison. So we are running to time here, and I'm really pleased where we're up to, because we have nearly come to the end of the presentation. I just want to make you all aware that we have our new media makeup and artistry textbook out there. This can be obtained from Hodder. So it is our City and Guilds textbook for theatrical special effects and media makeup artistry. It's a wonderful book. Obviously there was Kelly Stokes, Tracy Gaines and Nikki Purchase who all collaborated on this book, and I did have the privilege of proofreading it, and I felt like doing the course myself because it's such a good book. So I just wanted to let you know about that. General contact details here. So if you need to speak to us, please contact us on the technicals.quality@cityandguilds.com, and the telephone numbers there, and also our centre support. But if you need to, you contact me. If I'm not your first port of call, you've got these. But if you can't get any help on these two numbers, please do come through to me, and my details are on the slides. So don't have any worries at all. Just pick up the phone, or just send me a brief email to let me know if you need any help.
Thanks, Sarah. I've just noticed there is a couple of people with their hands up. I don't know if they're old hands from when I asked if they could hear you, but there are people with hands up. If you want to type your questions into the question box, if you've got any questions, and we will be able to answer them for you within this session.
Thank you, Alison. So again, this slide is useful contacts and links. We have our COVID-19 updates link there for you. Oh, sorry about that. Do apologise. Link for you, and what I would say is keep up to date, register for emails, make sure that you've registered for all our alerts that go out. My details are there, and as a technical advisor for Hair and Beauty, and also Emma's details are there as industry manager for Hair and Beauty.
Just got one question come through, Sarah, just before you finish, and I think it was a question before, and it was asking, are you covering any information on the level 2 Hair and Beauty Technical?
On this webinar, no, that's 3038. No, that's Key Stage 4. No, we're not on this webinar.
I hope that answers your question, Sarah.
Okay, what I would like is Sarah wants to email me. I can do a Teams meeting with her and a team to go through any questions that they may have moving forward.
Okay, and just another one, there's just a couple of questions are coming through now asking, are you going to be doing any webinars for any level 1 qualifications?
We don't have level 1 qualifications at technical level.
I'm not sure if they were referring to just level 1 qualifications, VRQs or MVQs.
We have our VRQs 3001, and for hairdressing we have 6008, and for beauty therapy we have 3007. If you want me to do any of those webinars, then we're right on this survey link, which is going to, for your feedback, you need to put on these links on this feedback form, tell me exactly what you want, and then I can tailor webinars to suit what your requirements are. I mean, these are legacy qualifications, the ones I've just spoken about, your 6008, your 3007, and your 3001. But if anybody wants a specific webinar on any of those qualifications, please let me know, because I am more than happy to do that. And I am more than happy to, do Teams meetings with you, with your centres, to go through the documentation that we have there.
That's perfect. Both people have said thank you, Sarah, for that.
Brilliant. Please do get in touch. It's really important. And again, I'm going to say about the webinar feedback, for me, it's a great tool for me to be able to shape the webinars moving forward. We did a webinar last week for the hairdressing and beauty therapy on program and endpoint assessment, and on reviewing the feedback, which was amazing. Somebody said to me, can we just have beauty on its own? Well, I've organised that straight away for the 7th of December. So we're just going to have a beauty on program and endpoint assessment webinar with hints and tips there from the lead independent endpoint assessor. And we're going to be going through all the units there. So I will structure these webinars to suit the needs of you, my customers. So thank you very much for that. I really appreciate you coming back to me there.
I think that's that's all I've got, Sarah, so far. I'll keep an eye on them just before you finally close, just to make sure we have answered everything.
Super. So again, please, if you're not savvy with the QR code, which I wasn't, but I'm getting quite good at it now, we do have that link there to the forms on Office. And put as much information down there as you need to, because you will be helping me, and that is obviously helping you, our customers. The last one is questions, and I don't think we have any more, Alison.
We've just got one, Sarah, that's just coming. A couple more that have just come out now. Yeah. Could you please remind the audience of the book for the makeup and the publisher? So I think that was referring to your makeup artistry book from Hodder. Are you okay to? There you go. If somebody just wants to do a screenshot of that, if you just print your screen, you'll get all the details from that.
And you will also be getting a copy of this webinar tonight, so with the slides. And I will also I'll cut and paste that off as well and put that into the email, so you've all got that. It's a lovely, lovely book.
And the final question, I think, is, and it may be for Renisa, can you please send out a list, or where would the list of webinars coming up, where would they find the list of webinars coming up from, or are you able to send something out, Sarah?
Right, the list of webinars, they do come out in our alert. So are you signed up for updates? Now, I would suggest everybody goes to the bottom of the City and Guilds page, the main page, and it says email updates, and sign up for alerts there, because we do send the webinars out there. We also use social media an awful lot, because we're Hair and Beauty, and we're never for our Facebook. So every webinar that goes out, I put onto Facebook for, so it's the City and Guilds Hair and Beauty page and the Barbering page. I also put them out on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. There is a newsletter that will be coming out within probably next week, and the webinars will be on there, and the links for the webinars will be on there as well. So the best way for you to get information, I would say, anybody, is to go onto the City and Guilds website, bottom, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you'll see right in the right hand corner, email updates or preferences. Go onto there and tell us what you want, and you will be the first one. You know, I'll have wrote it and it'll be straight out, and you will get that delivered to your inbox.
And just finally, we've had some really nice feedback about that. Somebody's purchased the book and found it really useful. It's a great book and found it great to use with the students. So there's some nice feedback there.
That is super. Thank you so much. I will let the authors know about that, because they are so proud of this book. I think it's the first one that's really out there that just really gives the industry a stamp. So I'm sure the authors are going to be very, very happy with that feedback. And thank you so much for that. I do appreciate it.
We've just got one person with a hand up. I don't really want to name them, but I don't know whether it's a question or not, or is it an old hand? I don't really want to name anybody or put them on the spot, but if you have a question, you've got your hand up, do you want to pop it into the question box? Yeah, we've got a comment from somebody here to say they've signed up the 7th of December. Sarah said, I'm interested in. So something that there's a webinar to the 7th of December. Is that right, Sarah? Have you a webinar there?
7th of December, that is my beauty therapy on program and endpoint assessment webinar that I will be doing, and that has come back through feedback from the forms from the last webinar for the hair standards. So you know, I do listen, I do read, and I will do whatever you want from me. You know, like I say, you're my customers, and I just want to make sure that I give you the best service possible and that you get the right information that you are that you're looking for.
Yeah, I think that's that. So far, I can't see anything else now, and I think they are old hands looking at them.
Okay.
Okay.
So this just brings me to a big thank you for taking your time out today to listen to this webinar, and I do fully appreciate that, you know, things haven't been easy with all the disruptions with COVID and, you know, all the stress and strains that has put on people. But if you do have any specific queries, please feel free to email me. You know, I will get back to you, I can promise you that, and make sure that you get further guidance that you may need. So the last thing I'd like to say is just, you know, have a lovely evening, and I'm really looking forward to you know, meeting you all out on the road again. We are doing face-to-face meetings, so you know, I would suggest if you're a curriculum manager or not, you know, go back to your curriculum manager and say, you know, can we get this lady in? She's prepared to come out and see us and help us. You know, I've missed being on the road myself. So all that I'd like to say now is thank you for Alison for supporting me on the webinar this afternoon, and I'd like you to all take care and stay safe. So thank you so much from City and Girls. Have a nice evening.